Jam Global Radio. This is Clarity. This is Clarity.
Already did my time. I paid for my crime.
My.
Did my time. I paid for my crime.
It's been 2 weeks since we've been here on Issues Today, live on World Jam Global Radio.
Time. I paid for my crime. Already did my time. I paid for my crime.
In that time, me and my family has had a long-awaited holiday out there in Paris, Disneyland. I've been promoted at work. But most importantly, I have missed you all tremendously.
About survival, it was do or die. I had too many rivals. I was too young and foolish to stay in school. I learned my
well today, my friends.
There was not a man I couldn't beat. I was good with my.
There probably couldn't be a better show that I could welcome you back to.
I had girls all over the street
than the one that we're doing tonight.
Life is so sweet. Now things have changed. The whole game has been rearranged. I'm a changed man. Don't need no gun in my hand.
Freedom in Palestine.
So life is too short to spend it all in jail. Trying to cope with this living hell.
Alongside me and my guest, my honored guest, Dr. David Ramey, my sidekick, my partner in crime.
Get my time.
Riding shotgun as always. We have live from the Gaza.
I paid for my crime.
Hazem Zatma.
I paid for my crime.
And he's going to be talking to us in a very short while.
Already did my time. I paid for my crime.
First and foremost, I want to say good evening to each and every single one of you that has joined us from around the world.
Drugs and Superfly, but I never got high on my own supply. I'm not proud of what I had to do. That's why I'm telling my story to you and you. I had to repent, I must admit. I was
whether you be in the UK, USA, or
now sit back and think it over since I've got
even Santa Lucia, as Dr. David would say.
I was young.
We welcome you to another edition of Issues Today, live on World Jam Global Radio.
Me and Billy the Kid had a lot in common. I was the real Terminator, much meaner than Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And don't forget, you can join us live on www.worldjamglobalradio.com. Register, sign yourself into the chat room, ask us some questions, and we'll put them through to our guests. Or you can follow us on at Issues Today on Twitter.
Already did my time.
Issues Today on Facebook.
Already did my time.
Or you can just get me on Kervin Julian on Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, or anything else.
Already did my time.
Make myself readily available.
Pay for my crime. Pay for my crime. Pay for my crime. Already did my time. I paid for.
Want to say a big good evening going out to our fellow DJ from World Jam Global Radio, the one and only Mr. DJ Legendary Skills, coming to you out of New Jersey, United States of America.
And have the right to vote and live like an ordinary citizen again. This is my message to
great to have you on board for this one, my friend.
Statewide, worldwide. There was not a man I couldn't beat. I was good with my hands and very quick on.
Believe it or not, I've just finished a 12-hour shift.
Girls all over the street. I was getting money.
Working at Caltex Unipart in Canley. We actually build the fuel tanks for a Jaguar Land Rover.
Change, man.
And I've just recently been promoted to a team leader.
No gangster.
Running multi-million-pound machines.
Jail.
With a large team to support me.
Already did.
My.
I paid for my crime.
I'm enjoying life at the top, let me tell you.
Did my time. I paid for my crime.
But enough of that and enough of me and enough of my holidays.
Already did my.
We got a show to put on, my friends.
Crime.
And I know there's many of you that have been waiting for 2 weeks, 2 whole weeks, for Issues Today to come back.
Already did my time. I paid for my crime. I was a drug dealer.
So whatever you're doing, man, stop. Stop.
My own supply.
Get yourself a cup of coffee. Pull yourself up a cushion or a chair.
I must admit.
Put your feet up.
All kind of.
And get ready for another absolutely fantastic edition of Issues Today on World Jam Global Radio.
I was young and dumb. My brain was so numb. I was a real Forrest Gump, but I was nobody's chump. Me and Billy the Kid had a lot in common. I was the real.
Do you think we've got a lot to talk about today?
Schwarzenegger, I'd shoot you up and spit you out.
And the freedom of Palestinians on the Gaza Strip is one that's very close to our hearts right here on World Jam Global Radio. Once again, I want to thank our producers,
did.
Especially Teresa,
I paid for my crime.
who's been stepping in for Linda Sue, who is
Statements are going on right now.
otherwise occupied and unavailable at the moment, but we're missing her so very much. But Teresa's doing an absolutely fantastic job in filling those boots. We also wish her well and a speedy recovery for the things that she's going through, and just so thankful that she's been able to get over those issues and make herself available to support and get this show ready for tonight. Don't forget to join us next week. We will be announcing it and giving you a promo at the beginning of the week. But we've got a show that's going to be centered around wrongful convictions next week. With people that are spending a lifetime behind bars for crimes they have not committed. Don't forget to join us next week. World Jam Global Radio, Issues Today. But tonight, without no further ado, let me bring you the one and only, the irrepressible, unmistakable, can't stop him even if you tried, Dr. David Remay. Good evening, David.
Hello, Kervin. How are you doing?
All the better for hearing your voice. I've missed you so much, my friend.
Thank you. I envied you when you were in the city light, beautiful Paris with the Tour Eiffel, the Louvre, the Champs-Élysées, the good food. I remember. Oh, hello. I remember one time I was in Paris and I thought I was ordering this delightful pasta, and it turned out to be kidneys from a calf. And I don't eat meat, and I don't eat organs, I don't eat calves. And I couldn't believe what they brought me and presented before me. And the person next to me was eating shrimp with the intestine spread all over it. And I decided I would go to Italy to eat in Tour Paris. But other than that, I like France very much. And I was ashamed when all these Republicans over here insulted it because the French president had the audacity to say the invasion of Iraq was a waste of time and illegal, which proved to be exactly correct. Now, what do we have going on this side of the Atlantic? Unbelievable. Donald Trump took us to Mexico to meet President Peña Nieto. Now, he was meeting the president of a country of 120 million people who he had called rapists, murderers, drug addicts, and prostitutes. And he thought he was going to get this wonderful reception. King Donald. Well, what did he get? He got a good lecture and a good reprimand. And he was so angry that he was called out for being too chicken to talk about his great Donald Trump wall between America and Mexico, that he came back to Phoenix and he gave a speech. And after pretending to be soft on immigration, he then gave one of the most heated, hot, bigoted speeches in history. And I want to read you what Timothy Egan wrote in the New York Times today. And he wrote this: in the hate speech that Donald Trump gave on immigration in Phoenix on Wednesday night after returning from Mexico, he all but deported the Statue of Liberty, laying out one of the darkest visions of the American experience that any major party nominee has ever given. Despite the media misread by some who presented the speech as a pivot, it got rave reviews from the neo-Nazi and Ku Klux Klan supporters and prompted some of Trump's few Latino advisors to resign in protest. Excellent speech, said the Grand Dragon David Duke, the former Klan leader from Louisiana. And today, Donald Trump went to a black church in Detroit. Detroit is that big city next to Flint, Michigan, where the Republican governor poisoned with lead the water of a majority black city and caused the mental damage and bad health and death of many African Americans. And he went to this church, and what did the black preacher do? This black preacher, this Judas, this Uncle Tom, this miscreant from the outer swamps of the darkness of ignorance of a land of which I never want to know, he said that Donald Trump was a great man, and he gave a talent, a prayer shawl from Israel to Donald Trump. Now get this, a black preacher giving a racist a Jewish prayer shawl in a Christian church. I've seen it all. I might as well get on the express elevator and descend to hell and have dinner with the devil himself. Now, let me tell you something else. 1% of African Americans, blacks in America, 1%, the lowest in the history of this nation, support the Republican nominee Donald Trump. 1%. And this black Uncle Tom is on television this morning with his bozos praising this racist, bigot, multi-billionaire, immigrant-hating hypocrite. And he promised 3 weeks ago that his wife would explain how she got her green card from Slovenia to live in America by being, many people think here, a prostitute who worked for a sham organization of models. And she hasn't given that press conference yet because she's still overcoming the embarrassment and shame of a plagiaristic speech full of plagiarism and lies and conceit and the worst dredges of society at the Republican National Convention. Now, Netanyahu of Israel has kept his big bloody mouth shut during this campaign. He's in a huge bind. He wants the Republicans to win, but he knows that out of 10 United States senators who are Jews, all of them are Democrats. Out of 20 representatives in Congress, all but one are Democrats. 19 House members, 10 U.S. senators. Now think of this. 1% of America is Jewish, but 10% of our Senate is Jewish. And Netanyahu knows he doesn't want to offend those powerful Jews, but he wants a Republican. He's kept his mouth shut, and he is now going behind the scenes to placate that awful, terrible Hillary Clinton's love for Israel and ignorance of the Palestinian plight. Now, as you know, but on the other hand, I have no sympathy for Mrs. Clinton's blind obedience to represent American Jews. And they do not represent American Jews. They represent Israeli Zionists. Now, as we know, the settlements in Israel are ongoing. The olive trees over blown up. Injustice persists, and apartheid is overwhelming us. But even in the darkest of times, we can have some hope. And the only hope we have is that we continue putting pressure in our universities, in our press, upon our politicians, and extract from them not a commitment to support Israel, not a commitment to support Palestine, but a commitment to support American values of equality, of freedom, of justice. If we will support those values, the situation in Israel will make itself clear. Now, I want to add one more thing. Those people who think Hillary Clinton is stupid, they're mistaken. Hillary Clinton was on the Watergate committee that led to the resignation of Richard Nixon in August of 1974. And she knew that Nixon was caught red-handed because he had tape recordings. And those tape recordings doomed him. And Hillary was on the committee that saw that. So Hillary deleted tens of thousands of her emails. She destroyed 8 devices for sending emails and communications. Destroyed all the evidence that she could get her hands on, and she escaped justice. Now, if that's not learning from the past, I don't know what is. Is it moral? I don't know. Is it just? I don't know. Is it survival? Yes. Now, let me say this. In politics, when you know the enemy is out to get you, and they have proven it over and over again, 17 investigations, hundreds of millions of dollars investigating Benghazi, but no investigation of 280 Americans killed in Lebanon under Reagan, or Pan Am 103 over Lockerbie, or the disaster in Nicaragua, or the trading of arms with Iran, all under Reagan, or the drugs with Noriega. None of these are 9/11. Or what about the failure to capture Osama by George W. Bush, or the illegal WMD, or the conspiracy with Tony Blair to create an illegal and immoral war? No investigations, no money, no nothing, but millions and millions of dollars in investigations on 4 people in Benghazi? No. If she is paranoid, she is right to be paranoid. If she thinks they're out to get her, she was right to think it. And if she took every measure within her power, legal and illegal, to protect herself against these piranhas of injustice, she acted rightly. And how do we know she acted rightly? Because she lives, she survives, and she will be the president. And that's the kind of leader any great superpower must have. One who is committed to survive at all costs. Because this is not about church, this is not about synagogue, this is not about mosque, this is not about morality, this is about survival in a political world. And those who are weak fail. And those who fail their people. And those people who are failed wind up in poverty and oppression. Never forget it and never let it go. So that's the way it is in America today. Welcome, Kervin, and I'm glad to be back with you, my very good friend.
Amen to that. And you know something? It's an absolutely fantastic thing because we don't actually care if we offend any of these bigots and racists that rule certain parts of our world. And we don't care if they ever get offended enough to want to try and sue us, because I haven't got a penny that I can give to them, even if they chose to sue me. So, Donald Trump, I hope you and your aides are listening, because we are watching very carefully, and anything and everything we can do to bring you, your bigoted and racist empire down, we are 100% behind anything Dr. David Ramay will say, even right here in the UK. Now, David, thank you so much for just taking us up there into what's going on in the United States of America at the minute. But let me just add this, because I've been following this story with the Trump out there in Mexico, and what astonished me and the rest of the world even more was the lack of effort the Mexican man himself had for defending his people against the onslaughts that they had received prior to Donald Trump arriving. Most people were absolutely gobsmacked that he didn't reprimand him or pull him up or even stood firmer against him and asked for not just an apology, a total retraction of what he had actually said to him. And I am absolutely gobsmacked that he's probably still sitting down there in a seat in government in Mexico as we speak. But what shocks me even more, than this Mexican president is the fact that Donald Trump is still in the race. How on earth could either him or Hillary Clinton, with all the propaganda, with all the evidence that's been put up against them, with all the investigations that's gone into their illegal and unlawful behaviors, how on earth are they still being supported to run a race to the White House is absolutely beyond me. They are more criminal than the criminals who are locked in our jails around the world. And if you guys can't see that in America, let me tell you something. We see it here in the UK already. But that's me, and I've said enough already, right? That's the UK point of view of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And that's just a background to what Dr. David has just had to say. But without no further ado, we have another guest on the show today, and his name is Hazem Atma. And this man is living live in the middle of Palestine, in the Gaza. And for me, we are passionate about the freedom of the Palestinians, and we want to hear what life is like on the Gaza. But first and foremost, let me introduce our guest and give him an opportunity to talk about himself and introduce you to who he is. Hazem Atma, are you there, my friend?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Hazem.
Well, my greetings, my warmest greetings to all your listeners this night. I'm very pleased to join two magnificent people, Kevin Julian and David Rumi. I would like to first introduce myself. I'm Hazem Al-Zatma. I'm 29 years old. Since my childhood, I've been loving my English language and all foreign languages in general. I've completed a bachelor degree in teaching English and a diploma in office practice. My life in Gaza didn't leave me any chances or opportunities to make the goals that would come after completing my higher education. Reachable due to the constant, unstable, and volatile environment here in Gaza, and more importantly, it is the insecure environment here in Gaza. So, the life here and the situation here, put huge barriers in front of me, in front of my my attempts to reach my goals and benefit myself and my fellows in Palestine.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction, Hazem. So, what is for you? What is everyday life like on the Gaza? Tell me from what it's like for you from the moment you get up. What's life like on the Gaza? Describe to me. Let me give you an example. Here in the UK, I wake up with anticipation, expectation of what the day's going to bring. I know I've got to go to work. I know I've got to go to work to pay my bills. But I go to work with an expectation and anticipation. A, I enjoy my work, and B, I enjoy the fruits of my labor that goes towards paying my bills and giving me and my family a reasonable life to live. It's not great, it's not fantastic, but it's a very good life to live. I've also spent a lot of time out in the Caribbean, and the life out there is slightly different. And when I'm out in the Caribbean, I can't wait to wake up in the morning. The sun comes down very early. It's very hot and it's very bright. And you go down to the beach and you can go and pick up the mangoes from the trees. People spend on the beach and they have little cookouts and stuff like that. And the sun comes down very early, so we try to get as much done in the day as we possibly can. It's a more laid back atmosphere and environment, and many people spend most of the day down at the beach eating, enjoying. Those that work, and as soon as they finish work, they go out and do stuff. But there is a purpose to our living. There's a reason why we do what we do, and there's an end game to what we're trying to accomplish. What I want to get from you is, what's the purpose and the end game when you wake up and go to bed on the Gaza?
Well, it is. I'm sorry to start with this. It is close to the life of animals, or in other words, you drain or spend all of your efforts. You devote all of your life and your efforts for the very basics, the minimum requirements of life. Every human should have. Every human should have. Your valued potential, your valued thinking or creativity, inventions, skills, and other resources, other valuable resources, any human could have. All of these efforts and resources are drained or wasted for the anxious pursuit of the very basics of life, for the very basic or minimum requirements of life. That with these requirements, life could go as basic or as normal as possible. So here with the electricity to cut from 8 to 12 hours a day, that makes your mind totally anxious about when the power will come back. Is it available today 8 hours or 12 hours or only 6 hours? Is there any problem in the in any of the three power resources coming to Gaza or not? The families just adjust their daily schedule to the schedule of the power cut, of the daily power cut. For example, if we have piles of clothes need to be laundered, we have to adjust ourselves, or I mean to stay at home if we are set to go for a visit or go for a walk outside. No, we should stay at home, because the for example the power will come after one or 2 hours. Same thing goes for the water. The water also, I mean, the same issue. There are two kinds of supplies of water in Gaza: the drinking water and the cleaning water. The drinking water, it is obtained by phoning a tanker truck, drinking water tanker truck, and the drinking water tanker truck comes to your home and fills approximately 500 or 1,000 liters of drinking water in a plastic storage tank that is installed above your home, or on the roof of your home, or just on the ground. Approximately you could consume this water in about 4 days. So there's no direct supply of drinking water in the taps in Gaza. It is really getting very scarce and more difficult to obtain. For the cleaning water, it is available only for 3 hours every 3 or 4 days. There is another problem. There's a great link between the electricity and water problems. If it is the time for the water to be available in the infrastructure pipes, and the power is down, you will not get the opportunity to get the water pumped to your storage, to your cleaning water storage tanks that are also installed on the roof of your home. These are of the basics. Also, there is the gas, the cooking gas, the fuels, all linked closely to the mood, I should say, between twins, to the mood of the powers that are control the siege that is imposed on Gaza. For example, the water, the electricity, the water. Because of the siege, there is no available proper equipment for the utilization of the water, and of course for the maintenance of the processing stations, water processing stations. Of course, there are also processing stations for the sewage water. So it is up to the besieging powers, I should say, to decide how would the situation of water, electricity, gas, and other basic supplies to be like. For the water, I already mentioned the besieging powers allow or not allow, if they decide, the equipment for processing the water. For the electricity, it comes from three sources. First, direct supply lines from Israel. Secondly, from the Lonely power plant that also gets its fuel solely from Israel. Thirdly, the direct supply lines from Egypt, and all these resources are available. It is still beyond and below half of the capacity needed to power all Gaza Strip, to provide Gaza Strip with around the clock power. If there is any war, the direct supply lines from Israel will be directly cut, and the Lonely power cut will be bombed. The direct supply lines from Egypt will get will be down for very long periods. Even though without wars, the electricity supply lines from Egypt get down so often and makes the electricity cut schedule all of the time, or always 6 hours a day, only 6 hours a day. It happens so often that only 6 hours a day. Like today, it is only 6 hours a day. Moving to the intellectually, people are only living for living. I might be right, and it might be harsh drawing of the image of living in Gaza. It is really living like animals, because as I say and think, what do animals do in their whole life? They only eat, drink, breathe, sleep. That is what do animals do in their life. But you could see a person who already excel at his own profession, or he's a very good pioneer in his profession, but he doesn't get the proper chance to work or to continue developing his performance and skills in his own profession. Consequently, you could see a pharmacist working in the building industry, in the building works. I couldn't say industry because we are only a small piece of land. You could see a university student could spend loads of money and efforts and time on his university study, but eventually he doesn't get a job that could at least provide the minimum income for a normal life, for him to be able to establish his own family. The Gaza Strip is exploding in population, really exploding in population. The population is doubling every year. We just hit the number 2 million. 2 million people living in a piece of land that is smaller than 365 square kilometers, and it is shrinking. It is really, if not smaller than that. So at the same time,
Hazan, let me ask you a question. A lot of us do know about the terrible crisis in the Gaza and the overpopulation, the poor streets, the destruction of the infrastructure. But it seems to me that the real issue is that you are cut off from the rest of the world. You are in a concentration camp, so to speak. Do you have when you have a passport? Who issues? For example, if you travel to America or Britain, do you have a passport? I mean, who gives you a passport?
The only authority gives me it is the Palestinian Authority. Ironically,
wait, I didn't understand that. Well, who gives you a passport?
The Palestinian Authority.
Okay, so you have a Palestinian passport
from the Palestinian Authority.
Okay, and what does it say? You're a citizen of what?
No. It is just a normal passport.
I know, but my passport says this is an American citizen.
Yeah.
I'm born in America, and we ask every government in the world to give proper care and attention to the free travel of this person. So what does yours say?
Something same. Similar.
Let me ask you that: if the Israeli authorities do not want you to leave Gaza, can you still leave with your passport? How do you leave?
Yes, but it is a very slim chance.
No, I'm saying how. For example, I own a car business in Gaza. I repair cars. I'm a nobody. I'm just a regular person. I got 4 children. Mm-hmm. And we decide we want to go to Budapest, Hungary on holiday. So I have a Palestinian Authority passport. Where do I have to go to catch an airplane to go to Budapest?
Yeah. Well, there are two only ways for individuals to travel to the outside world from Gaza Strip. One is the first, and we are this is the most common. One is through Rafah crossing, but since Hamas took power in 2006. The Egyptian government turned the treatment of Gaza Strip with the people of Gaza Strip upside down. Now that meant the crossing, the Rafah crossing that is the most common terminal used by the Gazan people to be linked with the outside world. It gets seldom opened. Very
Okay,
seldom.
so here's the deal. The only way you can technically leave Palestine, the Gaza Strip, since you're surrounded by three forces: the Mediterranean Sea, Egypt, and Israel. Is that right?
Yes, there is another one.
Okay, what's the other one?
The other one is Erich crossing.
Is what?
Erich crossing, and
Where? To where?
I mean, that's also on the border with Gaza. Right now, it is.
I'm saying Gaza is completely surrounded by Egypt and Israel. Is that not correct?
Yes,
There's no other country bordering Gaza except the sea, Israel, and Egypt. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
correct.
now,
I'm speaking.
so in other words, let me finish. So in other words, the only way a human being can leave is get on a boat and maybe be shot out of the water by Egypt or Israel, or go to Israel and be arrested as a terrorist, or go to Egypt, which is now occupied by the government put in power by Israel after the coup d'etat of the Muslim Brotherhood. So there's no way for you to leave without Israel's permission or help. Is that correct? Is there any way you can leave if Israel doesn't want you to leave?
Yeah, but it is according to the way I would take. Beside the Rafah crossing, there's the Erez crossing. Now it is being increasingly being used for the seldom and the long closure of Rafah.
Okay. Hazem. I think what Dr. David is trying to ask you, and the point that he's trying to get across to you is this: is there any way, any legitimate, legalized way you can willingly leave without hindrance or opposition, without Israeli approval?
No, of course, no. There is nothing. There's no way.
Okay, so in other words, you are in an Israeli concentration camp or prison of 365 square kilometers. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Now, that's the question I want to get to.
Sorry, David.
Wait, I want to ask. Wait, Kervin, 1 second. Just please, one word. The question I really want is, once we establish the fact that you are under total Israeli control and occupation, what does that do to your spirit, your free spirit?
Yeah, it shrinks my mind. It shrinks the value of life in general for me. It hinders the aspirations that I would have based on my qualifications and skills. It prevents any individual in Gaza to live a normal life here. Only, as I said, only to be anxious in pursuit of the very, very basic needs of life and requirements of life. It makes so much of stress and depression for the people. It makes the minds of the people very, very, very sick and tremendously always under pressure of the pressure of difficult life, of the hardships that everyone here faces as a result of the siege, as a result of the of the siege and the wars that were launched against Gaza.
Here's the thing, Hazem, right? Here, say for example, in this country, I know many people who have worked for a number of years in whatever profession that they chose to work in, and at some point, because they're single, unmarried, and without children, have chosen to give up their work and use the money that they've saved to maybe go and travel around the world, go and see sites that they've never seen before. Just leave, pack up and go. Say, yep, I'm a British citizen, I'm an Englishman, but right now I just want to go to Australia, and I want to go to New Zealand, or I want to go to Malaysia, or I want to go to the Philippines, or, How easy would it be for somebody who lived under Gaza, right, to accumulate themselves some money over a period of time and just say to themselves, you know what, I'm single, I have no children, I'm not married, I don't have no commitments or responsibilities, I want to go and see the world. How easy?
Indeed.
How easy would that be for you to do?
It is not easy at all. It is a dream. It is a dream for all people in my age or around my age. It is really a dream because there's no room left. There's no chances for the people in my age to accomplish anything. Just any simple thing in life to accomplish, because of the very small piece or space of land. Gaza cannot or be able to continue to be an inhabitable place as expected by the UN, by an official United Nations survey or research that Gaza Strip will be an inhabitable place by 2020. So it is already felt by the younger generations, by the people in their 20s and 30s. There's no room or chance for them to accomplish anything. But we would be pressed to return to the first square, only to have to secure the very basics of life, to secure the food, water, and so on. There's no the common income resources are the governmental, the UN, the private sector. The private sector doesn't have any raw materials allowed into Gaza to be back to resume the operation of their factories and businesses. The UN also, it is dependent on international governmental international governmental contributions, and it often suffers from financial crises. The government, the same thing is for the government, for the Palestinian Authority. The Palestinian political division added to this crisis by creating totally unneeded problems between the Hamas government in Gaza and the Fatah government in the West Bank, and both governments don't have totally don't have any income resource and any income resource within it is means. Both Hamas in Gaza and Fatah in the West Bank get money contributions from international government contributions. There are the Gulf countries, the Gulf governments that contribute to the salaries of the government employees here in Gaza and in the West Bank. All of the most of the projects that are being implemented in the Palestinian territories are funded by international funders. So there's no income for any people except except maybe in this bank, because it is somehow there easier than in Gaza to get to travel and get on the move. although they have about 700 checkpoints. But here in Gaza,
Sorry. How many checkpoints?
We are.
Hold on.
80%.
Stop. How many checkpoints?
Around I just hear 700 checkpoints.
700 separate checkpoints.
Yeah. That is except the separation wall, and it is totally complex in those back. But at least they get somehow some of the freedom of movement.
Okay.
Somehow.
One second. Let's quantify this, shall we? How far can you travel from one spot to another before you encounter another checkpoint? What's the furthest you can travel?
That is in the West Bank, but you mean in Gaza?
How far do you have to, how far can you travel without encountering a checkpoint?
Well, it is naturally it is the long of Gaza Strip itself. It is 40 kilometers, only 40 kilometers.
And in 40 kilometers,
Yeah.
you have 700
That's-
checkpoints.
24 miles.
No. I mean for the 700 checkpoints. I just meant in the West Bank. That is in the West Bank, because they are the security situation is always volatile there, and so on. But in Gaza we don't have checkpoints.
Okay, now
but the sea.
explain to me the process of going through a checkpoint.
Well, it is essentially when you decide to travel, and that could be either through air crossing to be checked by the Israelis, or Rafah crossing to be checked by the Egyptians.
But what is when you get to a checkpoint, what is the scenario? What do you have to go through in order to get through? What is the experience?
Basically, the person who leaves Gaza Strip through either of these two crossing points would be going to travel to outside Palestine.
I understand that, but what are they subjected to? What do they have to do? What is it that the Israelis what is it that they do to you at these checkpoints? Do they
Your experience.
Yeah, do they just search you? Do they search your car? Do they strip you? What do they do to you when you get to these checkpoints?
For Egypt, you must register in advance with the local authorities that you are willing to travel. Then waiting for unknown period of time until you turn among the 20,000 people that are already registered and waiting for their turn to be able to travel. It is a matter of luck when where in the list of the 20,000 people you are listed and or you are placed. Then you should wait for the you don't know how many openings of the Rafah crossing are needed for your turn to come to reach your turn to travel through the Rafah crossing. Then you have to go through a difficult checking process that takes the whole day at the crossing. Then you will have to cross about 400 kilometers from the Rafah crossing from the Egyptian side to Cairo airport to travel. There's the other side, the air crossing. You have also to apply for a leave permit from the Jordanian authorities first. Then if you get this leave permit, you go to the Israeli authorities. You apply also for a leave permit. You say I want to leave Gaza to travel for this disclosed purpose. You must fall into a student, being into one of these categories: being a student, being urgently sick, or being an international working with a recognized NGO by Israel. So after you get the 2 leave permits from Israel and Jordan, you are given a specific time to travel through the air crossing. Then after you pass the security check, you don't know. I have never traveled outside Gaza, but according to people just traveled through these crossings. After you pass the security check at air crossing, you get escorted with a bus. You board a bus along with other possibly travelers to directly to the King Hussein bridge between the West Bank and Jordan. You cross the Jordan to Amman airport, then you fly to your destination. Basically, the people of Gaza are not allowed to stay in Egypt, except if they have a visa to stay in Egypt. For the other side, the people of Gaza are not allowed to stay also in the West Bank or in Jerusalem, or to be able to pray in Jerusalem. They should also only go for their destination, for their mentioned destination when they have applied to the for the leave permit.
Hassan, let's not get into sticks here. I want to ask something. Yes or no? Was it easier to go to Egypt before the coup d'etat in Israel that put al-Sisi in charge?
It was easier, yes.
Okay, let me ask you this. Was it easier when you felt like Turkey was on the side of Gaza and Palestine and was trying to send ships to help you and bring to the attention of the world the horrible humane and political crisis in Palestine? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Tell me this. How do you feel against European countries and the United States when you see that there is an absolute rejection of the cries for dignity, humanity, and freedom for the Palestinian people? How do you personally feel?
Well, they are brainwashed.
I'm asking you. Do you feel, for example, if I were in a situation in which the whole world ignored my suffering, ignored the killing of my families, ignored the concentration camp in which we lived? I am a Jew. And we learned that the world on Kristallnacht in 1938, November 10 and 11 in Germany, the whole world was silent when the Nazis came out and burned our synagogues, burned our books, arrested our people, and eventually put us in concentration camps and murdered us. The whole world was silent until Pearl Harbor was attacked, or until England was attacked at Coventry in London, or until France was taken over. Then they got excited. But when they were just killing my people, nobody cared. And that's why we say never again. And we're furious about it. Tell me, do the Palestinian people not feel, as we must have felt then, that the whole world ignores the oppression, the occupation, the inhumanity, the murder, the deaths, the 2,700 people killed in 2014, the refusal to provide water, medical care, hospitals, schools, the refusal to even give you clean water, food, basic health, and moreover, that Israel is desalinating water for their own people, taking water from Syria for their own people, and dumping the refuge of the saline crystals and the other deadly chemical elements taken out of the sea to create water into your Gaza lands and property, where your fish are being killed, where your towns of 1,000 years are being destroyed. Tell me, How is there not some kind of a tea kettle there ready to explode? I don't understand this.
Yeah, we really feel that we are not humans. We don't have the value of our life, especially at the time of the war. We are crying. We are totally afraid, screaming, but nobody cares. Maybe it is the world that follow the leverage law. Who is stronger could have the attention or attraction, but who's weaker should be killed like a little animal. That is, you just feel yourself exactly as this feeling. You feel like you are more closer to death than to life, because there are other people that control how your life might look like, how your life, how is the rhythm of your life is going on, what levels of development you should have. They control your dignity, the supply of your dignity. They just control everything to be, I mean, to limit your thinking, to deplete your mind. That is what we feel, especially for myself personally. I mean, all of my efforts are devoted and wasted on very basic things I should have taken for granted. I should have already as a human, and I should be able to utilize this valued intellectual power I have for the more valued things. I mean, for example, to develop my profession, to develop my skills, qualifications. Now, I just have a dream, a big dream, that I could have a higher education, to study a master's degree in my beloved profession, which is translation. But because of the restrictions that are imposed on my people, it is very, very, very far, and I am requested to collect lots of resources in order to have this
let me
dream
ask
come
you.
true.
Okay, I get it, but I don't understand how anybody. I mean, I've been very blessed, and I can never speak in your shoes. And forgive me if I seem to be presumptuous. I don't mean to be. However, it seems to me that India, when it was faced with oppression, found in its soul Mahatma Gandhi. The American blacks found in their soul Martin Luther King. The Chinese found Mao Zedong. What are your leaders doing? What are Hamas? What is the Palestinian Authority? What are they doing? I mean, I'm not there, and I understand the crush of the Israeli army. But what would happen if 2 million people in Gaza just walked out of that border, headed toward Tel Aviv overnight? All 2 million of you walk like Mahatma Gandhi did with the Salt March to the sea. In India, with millions of people, 2 million of you walk to Tel Aviv. What could they do? The whole world would protest if they spent gas on you or bombed you. Are you kidding me? Just walk out of that place and say, we will no longer be here.
Do you know the thing is, Dr. David?
No.
I'm the type of person that would say, let's go and do this. But I believe the wickedness of Israel and what they have been allowed to get away with to date, the world would still stand still if Israel chose to sit there and bomb the 2 million people that were trying to walk out.
I understand, Kervin, but let me say this. In the American history, when we decided to fight King George III, there was a famous man who stood up in the Burgess of Virginia. That's their legislature. And he said, Patrick Henry, give me life, give me liberty, or give me death. Give me liberty or give me death. That's what it says.
So,
and in New Hampshire, they say, live free or die. At some point, you just say, like they did in apartheid South Africa, in occupied India and Pakistan, in China with the American blacks. At some point, you say, life has to have value. And if it doesn't have value, I will die. But I am not going to sit in a concentration camp and go into the ovens. I am not going to sit here and go like sheep. And I don't understand. And my question to Hassan is, why doesn't the authority in Palestine or Gaza, why don't they stand up and arouse fury in the people? There's no way Israel can defeat 5 million Palestinians. They cannot do it without destroying themselves. What are they going to do? Gas them?
David, they simply cannot do it. They simply cannot do it. The moment the Israelis would sense any change towards this point, towards this view, they will be crushed like they did with Arafat. So I don't like to speak about political things.
Hazem, just a couple of questions, just a couple of comments coming out of the chat room or on site at the moment. More and more waking up to every day to what's going on in Israel. Somebody else says, DJ Legendary says, wow, I care my brother. And I think he was talking in response to the inhumane way that you were talking about how you and others were being treated, or how you felt you were being treated on the Gaza. And Kizzy in Milton Keynes says, getting people together all at the same time is so damn hard. I want to try and get people together for a non-compliance week. Just a couple of comments coming out of the chat room as we speak. But I wanted to hit somewhere else in the midst of what we're talking about, and I hear clearly what David is saying, and David is talking from a rational point of view, and that's because David is a very organized person. But we're talking about living in a disorganized community, a disorganized world, and what I'm hearing in the midst of all of what you're saying is the hopelessness of the circumstance of the everyday, day-to-day life that you live. So my question to you is slightly different. It's not about rabble-rousing or rousing people up and how do we fight back. My question to you is, where is your hope? We all live with a hope. There is a hope for something better. There is a hope for something different. The reason why we get up each morning, the thing that we look forward to at the end of the day, what we're planning for our children and our families in the future, there is a hope. Where is the hope on the Gaza?
I would separate the answer for this question in two aspects: for my personal and for my and general. For my fellows, for my people. Personally, is to reach a position where I could learn as many languages as possible. More importantly, to be able to develop my English language to the highest level possible. Then to learn language. I already progressed in the German language. I learned the German language. I'm close to the intermediate level. So I like I hope that is my hope in life. I like foreign languages. Speaking foreign languages for me is like music, and the stress of life just prevents me from doing this hope. Alternatively, I'm trying to do this gradually through Facebook. For my fellows, I would like and hope that I could establish a mean for my fellows, for the children, for the pupils of schools, to get an interactive way of education rather than the static and routine way of education that is followed here in Gaza. Most of the child's power is exhausted during a typical school year. Just waking up in the morning, then returning from school exhausted after the non-stop delivery of the education period at school, then having to do the homework, then having to rest or play for a simple thing, for example, playing football in the street, and that's it. No, we have a very important proverb in the Arabic language that says education in the childhood is like on a rock. That is my hope for people. Also, my hope for my people is to get also in Gaza, in the wake of the severe electricity crisis here in Gaza, is to have a clean, sustainable power resource, which is here the solar panel, the solar power. The solar power is getting more and more popular here in Gaza because of the advantage of sun. We are a Middle Eastern country, and so we get sun most of the months of the year. That is my hope. But because of the difficult situation we are living in, of the difficult situation that we cannot control, when we could solve the resources to solve this problem are not in our hands. So we just fight very hardly against this problem to accomplish the amount of progress and accomplishment.
You know, the funny thing is, in order for you to really be able to measure, right, the difference between the freedom of how you live and the freedom how other people live in other nations, you would actually have to venture out freely into those other countries and nations to see how they live, in order for you to be able to compare what it is that you either lack, don't have, or struggle with from where you are to where others are. The unfortunate thing is the restrictions that you face where you are means that you don't get to see or hear the ways that other people are living and the freedom in which they're living. You can just only imagine that it must be better than what you're getting. But how long have you lived in this hopeless or hopelessness, this nothingness, this waking up with no hope and no understanding of what a future means? How long have you known this yourself?
Well, that practically since the moment I was born. But from the moment I was completely mature intellectually and physically, the moment I graduated from my university, it didn't change. That was since 2010. The year I graduated from my bachelor degree, and since then, it really didn't change so much.
I want to go back even further, right? I want to go back even further, and I'll tell you why I want to go back even further, because I want to get a real understanding of what it is like to be born into a Palestinian way of life. So for me, when I was a child, before I had my dreams, before I had my visions, before I had my hopes, before I had my aspirations and my inspirations and my motivations, I had this excitement in me to want to make believe, play. And as children, we learned to play. We learned to have fun. We learned to be creative and use our imagination. And I want to find out what it was like for you as a child. What games did you play? What imagination did you have? What creativity were you allowed to explore and expand on? What was your gameplay with your friends like? What did you play on the street? What did you play in school? What did you play in your house? What was
yeah.
fun like for you?
It is really speaking about the fun. It is really the same as the children do in any poor neighborhood in this world. The remaining thing is that I didn't see any suitable environment for a normal childhood, because I was born in the year 1987, and the year 1987 was the breakout year of the first Intifada, and the Intifada is the uprising. So there was no calm, normal life. You could imagine my parents, my family wouldn't be in their normal status and in their normal mindset and thinking to take care of their family. Since then I have been living a very volatile life, being under occupation since the moment I was born under occupation. We just fight to get a normal life. Just fighting to get a normal life. Living, playing for me, playing on computer. I like the racing games, and sometimes football. But I see we are very far behind what do the children around the world get. Really, they get at least once in their lifetime. That's the poorest family once in their lifetime to get an opportunity to travel outside their country. But we don't dare to dream about this. For the children to see what do they learn at school in reality on ground. For example, if I have a lesson about planes, I should be at least to have once in my life to be able to see a plane. I would have a lesson about astronomy. I should have normally to be able to buy a telescope, to have access to to explore astronomy. So the children in Gaza Strip are grown up immaturely. Really, in most cases, they are grown up immaturely. They mostly skip their childhood stage of their life. That is really what life here in Gaza for children.
Wow, David, did you want to come in there?
Yeah, I do. Tell me this: what do the children of the Gaza learn about Israel, the occupying power? What do you learn about the Israeli people and Jewish people? What do you know about the other side?
They only understand that when Israel is mentioned, they know that this is the side this is the side from where the bombs that are attacking them. That is the only perception.
And when they ask their parents, why are the Israelis doing this? What do the parents say?
Of course, the clear answer that because they are criminals, they want just to kill us. They just follow the Judaism, and they just want to kill us. That is the reality that is not controllable. We are not we don't have the choice to think of an image other than this. To think of an image other than this. I didn't have an opportunity to have my life to be better. So how come I do have a point of view that is different than this? I wouldn't. I will not. I will not have any point of view other than this, or different than this. I only get a depressed life. I only get a stressful life. I don't get my dignified life. I don't have the opportunity to get a normal life, to live like anybody in the world, to get the rights, the universal rights that are part of the UN Human Rights Declaration. No.
Okay, let me Hassan, understand. Let me ask you this question to move on to a different subject. I know that you want to study at Swansea in England, in the United Kingdom. As you know, there are many people who write on the internet that there are Palestinian young people like you who want to study abroad. But in fact, you're not really students. You're agents of the Palestinian Authority and Hamas. And in fact, you are secret agents being placed in foreign countries to get money, to propagandize, to work for BDS, to work for actions against Israel, to support those who are fighting against Israel, and that you're really secret agents. I know that there is a British writer named David Collins who recently wrote this in April and May, and he called it the invasion of the United Kingdom's universities by Palestinian students who are really secret agents of Palestine, that they're really not interested in their education. And in fact, he even referred to you. He said one of them is Hassan, and he said you had many different names, and that you had never really applied to Swansea University, and that you were really coming in as an agent. It seems to me very strange people would write this, but he writes it. What do you say to people like me who don't know you, to that kind of truth or untruth, or propaganda or misinformation, as you may call it? How do you answer those kind of writers who write about you and people like you who want a good education, no different than Jews did in the 30s and 40s when they were trying to get out of Germany?
Yeah, it's first of all, it's not right to categorize or put this issue into ideological discussions or so on. This is, as I said, it is a very simple right that I should have my universal right to have good education. It is not. I say that it is not my fault to have to be born in this place, to be born in a war-torn place. It is not my fault. These people are really brainwashed, and they just trade on the fear. They just trade fear to get themselves stronger than the other side, to criminalize, to wrongly criminalize us, to wrongly strip us of our rights. Now I have been living since my birth. I have been living in this in this land that always gets wars and unstable situation. What is and you have made me to live this situation, and then you call me an agent, that I'm coming as an agent when a university puts an application, a normal application for the university in front of me, and I pass all of the procedures. What is my fault? I mean, it is either I breach the laws of the country, the UK, or the laws of the university. And if I do this harm to any of the sides, the British government or the university, either side will kick me out of their home, out of the university, or out of the university, or out of the United Kingdom. So it is really, it expresses that these people who are carrying this point of view are just screaming as really they are wasting their time in doing this, and it really, in other words, exposes their weakness in their weakness of evidence that we are like what they have expressed us, or they are propagandizing against us.
Well, I mean, it seems to me I would feel very badly knowing that citizens of Israel, we have two right now in my community here who we're hosting for a whole year. They're free to come here to propagandize, to tell everyone how great and fair and wonderful Israel is. But there are no people from Palestine or Gaza coming here to tell us any differently. And this seems to me a real problem, that you are absolutely possessed. I mean, you're occupied, you're oppressed, you have no freedom. And it seems very strange to me that anyone would question a person's desire to get out of a concentration camp and go and study exactly as do their children, do their neighbors. And I don't understand how your people, and I say your people because they are your people in Gaza and Palestine. We read every day how an Israeli soldier can shoot a Palestinian unarmed, dead, and nothing happens to him. But if a Palestinian looks cross-eyed or throws a rock at an Israeli truck, they arrest the person, they may kill him, and they burn down his family's house, they take his land, and they put Jews from Brooklyn, New York on the property. And they tear down your olive trees, tear down your farms, kill your goats and your sheep, and the whole world says nothing. And I don't understand how you, seemingly a very bright young man, 28 years old, forgive me, but I don't understand how you can compartmentalize this to the point that you want to go away and become a translator and think of your life and not think about the people there and what they're suffering and try to organize against it. I guess that's where if I saw my whole family in prison in Connecticut, and we were trapped here, and the people in New York and Massachusetts and Rhode Island are living great, wonderful lives, and every time I stick up my head, they drop a bomb on my house, I wouldn't be thinking of moving to England to become a translator. I'd be trying to figure out how to defeat the enemy and bring freedom to my family. Do you understand?
David, I want to come in here now. I really want to come in here now. And forgive me for if anybody is offended by what I'm about to say. But I believe a generation or generations of people that have spent a lifetime in oppression, occupied, restricted, no hope, living in hopelessness. People have visions and dreams, and some people look beyond their circumstance to see what might be possible, because somewhere along the line, every now and again, news gets in as to what might be possible on the other side. And some people are called to arms Some people are called to fight. Some people are called to stand up and protest. Some people are called to be politicians. Some people are called to be doctors. Some people are called to be teachers. Some people are called to be all kinds of things. But the day that we start losing our vision to be all that we can be, irrespective of where we are and what others see us to be, then there is absolutely no point in living. And if I was Hazem living under Gaza, and all I knew, all my family knew, all anybody that I've ever met and had a conversation with knew, was to be oppressed and occupied and restricted in how we lived. And I found myself learning and getting myself to a level I would want to get out. And let me just say this. Many people in the Caribbean, for example, simply because of the lack of earning potential and the low standards of living, left their families behind to come to the United Kingdom to earn a better living. Many Caribbeans, Afro-Caribbeans, left the West Indies to go to the Americas for a better living. Many people have left Africa and South Africa and other third world countries, Nigeria and other places, and they have gone on to greener grass and bluer seas and greater waters in order for them to be able to expand on their dreams and excel themselves in what they're able to accomplish. Some of it is so that they can send money home to look after their dear loved ones who are still suffering. And some of them are hoping that they can bring their loved ones to where they are so that they can also live better. But to actually criticize somebody for wanting to better themselves when they have lived an entire life of oppression, I think is harsh. I think it's very harsh. And if I was Hazem, David, and I had a dream, I would want to pursue that dream. And if that dream meant that I can go on and make a better name for myself and the people of my country whom I represent, then that would be an honor and a privilege. And I would be hoping that those I left behind would be rooting for me too.
Yeah, exactly. It also goes beyond this. Is that I mean, for the benefit of the whole world, it is me, one person living on planet Earth. I planned, and I have planned and dream to take my turn to benefit this planet, but I got some uncontrollable conditions that prevented me from doing this. I was meant to be. I had to be able to generate money myself, to be able to working until I reach this year. I had to be in Swansea this September, but because I couldn't work and in Gaza because of the lack of work opportunities in Gaza to collect the money resources to be able to study in Swansea and complete developing my life and the complete progressing the way to reach my dreams. It was not possible. Even a friend from Germany sent a small pack, a simple pack, parcel to me that contains a baby doll, some sweets and some pens, but it is now stuck in the West Bank. The post office directorate in the West Bank told me that because there are sweets in the parcel, the Israelis will treat it as suspicious, and so it will take ages. If not, it would be confiscated. So it is really makes you to think that the other side doesn't recognize you are human, or works very hard to kill you and end your life as soon as possible.
Do you know, I could not imagine what life must be like living on the Gaza. I know that from some of the pictures that I see, from some of the posts that I'm honoured and privileged to have people share with me. I know that from some of the things that I've seen on the television, and I know more importantly, what we don't get to see as often as we should, is the state and the condition in which you live, which I was so glad you were able to share with us about the water and the electricity, and that's what I really wanted to, because we often get to talk to people on this show about the occupation, about the war, about the shootings, and about the violence and about the aggression, but the basic standard of human rights living we don't often get to hear about, and to hear how you lived day to day with these 6 hours or these hours cut out of water and electricity. And I know, because out in the Caribbean, when we're out there sometimes, when there is a hurricane or a bad storm, they stop the water for a while because the water gets contaminated, and so they stop the water from the things from getting into the houses. They shut it off until they can clean it up, and for some hours, and only because it's so hot and uncomfortable, there is a real outcry. Even radio shows are dedicated to how bad the government are in getting this water situation sorted out, simply because people just want to have a shower, right? And yet there's a river within yards of where most of them live that they can have. It's the whole inconvenience of the thing, but we're not talking about a momentary inconvenience that might only happen at a particular season of the year. We're not talking about an inconvenience that only happens when there is a natural disaster that man has no control over. We're talking about a standard of living that you are subjected to daily, simply because those that oppress you want to stamp on you and crush you and squeeze all the life out of you, all the resistance, all the strength, all the hope, all the imagination, all the creativity.
Yeah,
simply because
we got used to this. Yeah, we got used to this suffering.
But I hear what you're saying. And what I'm saying is, the crying shame of everything that we're hearing tonight is the fact that you've had to get used to that, and that's your normal. The crying shame of what we're hearing tonight is that is your normal. That is your everyday way of living. That is how you wake up every day. That is how you go to bed each night. That is your expectation of tomorrow and next week. And yes, we might have to go through that through some sort of normal atrocity that might take place. We might have a storm that is unprecedented and unexpected that comes from out of nowhere. We might have a hurricane that has been predicted and pinpointed by our weathermen, and we've been told to batten down the hatches because this will be coming at 11 o'clock tonight or 3 o'clock tomorrow. This might be because of a flood that has swelled the rivers and the waters, and the sandbags have not been placed high enough to stop this water from coming onto land and flooding into our homes. This is just this is not just like a once in a lifetime disaster, atrocity that we have the rest of our lifetime to get over and recover from. And we have an income and a job and a way, and we also have government funds and aids to help these stricken areas to recover from this atrocity, this hurricane, this storm, this flood. We're talking about a day-to-day lifetime of hopelessness without no redress. And when you squeeze all the life out of that, then you're squeezing out the very reason for existence, hope.
Yeah, and we are more importantly that we are deprived from getting these improvements. We are deprived, like unlike the Caribbeans, to leave our places whenever it is no longer uncomfortable, no longer comfortable to live in our places. But here we get this oppressed life, we get this stressful life, and moreover, we are not allowed from improving this. We are not allowed. That is, in other words, that is the slow death, keeping us between imminent death and severe desperation.
I just want to bring Dr. David back in because I know Dr. David had a point that he wanted to make, and I'm sorry that I cut him down like that because he is my dearest of friends, but he also knows that I have a very compassionate heart, and I can't help but feeling for the oppressed in every way possible. But David, even in your review of how you saw Hazem wanting to leave in order to better himself, could you not see why he would want to?
Oh, but of course, and I don't blame him. I was not criticizing Hazan. I admire him to struggle above the circumstances in which he was born and oppressed. I was merely playing the devil's advocate to give him the opportunity to counter those propagandistic and cruel claims made by those who want to insult the Palestinian people for wanting to live a life normal and humane and with dignity like everyone else. I merely cited what David Collins and these other people are saying so that Hazan could fight against it in a forum in which people would give him a fair opportunity. It wasn't my view. I was presenting an opportunity, and I'm glad he took it. And I always love the way you express your humanity, Kervin, because you do it so much better than I did, and maybe that's why you're married and I'm not.
Well, for me, I'm absolutely dumbstruck when I come across somebody who has to live in a lifestyle that is far worse than mine's, yet I still find myself complaining about where I'm at, and I'm humbled when I encounter individuals like Hazem, because I'm not too sure if I could be as brazen and as upfront and as optimistic about life if I had to live every day under the rule of oppression and the lack of freedom in movement, in lifestyle choices and options that are available to me. I'm not too sure that I
But it's even, Kervin, it's even more than that. He's living, Hassan, with 2 million other people, are living in a town and in a place that is 365 square kilometers. That's smaller than the city of Chicago. And at any moment, Netanyahu could give the order and his entire neighborhood could be wiped off the map. It could be 1,000 people killed around him and him included. He never knows from one day to the next day if he'll be alive. I mean, think about that. We never think about that, but they do, and with good cause.
Absolutely.
Yes.
One of the latest pieces. One second, Dave. One of the latest pieces of news that I came across in recent news in Gaza was how the Israeli forces who were stationed on the borders actually turned their guns on local Palestinian farmers. I'm not sure if you've heard that report yet. On the Gaza Strip.
I have. And they killed their animals. Yeah, sure. Every day.
And this was 2 days ago. 2 days ago, they opened fire on local Palestinian farmers. And that's just people who are going about farming on their land to make a daily buck, but also to provide provisions and resources for their people. These wasn't.
I'm sure. I'm sure if you ask Hazan, Hazan, are you surprised by that? Does that shock you that Israel killed some of your people yesterday? I mean, that's an everyday event for people in Gaza and the Palestinians. Look, when 3 children belonging to a Brooklyn rabbi in the West Bank, occupied territory, can kidnap a 16-year-old boy, make him drink 5 liters of gasoline, and then light him on fire until he burns into ashes.
Yeah.
Though key persons say he was mentally unstable, their houses are not burned down, their families are not punished, they're not punished, nothing happens, and that's quite all right. But on the other hand, when a Palestinian boy looks bad at an Israeli, he'll pull out a gun and shoot him in the head and say that Arab, they won't call them Palestinians, they call them Arabs, that Arab deserved to die. And the whole army threatens to bring, the whole citizenry threatens to bring down the government of Netanyahu if he does anything against that murdering soldier who moved to Palestine from France because he couldn't get a job in France, because he's obviously a pervert and a moron and a murderer. I mean, what do you expect in a country where the government and military sanctions the murder of innocent people by drinking gasoline and burn them to death? But what do you expect? I mean, we, as a Jew, every day I am so ashamed. I am so ashamed that this goes on. And when I tell people who are Jews in America, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. I sympathize with Hazan. I'm Fruit Loops over it, frankly. I don't understand how my government can issue 400 vetoes in the United Nations Security Council defending Israel, knowing what it is doing. And the thing is if you mention this, they say, well, what about what Palestinians do? Well, you know, if I go in and rob a bank and I get shot, no one mentions the fact that the policeman shot me. They think he is absolutely in the right to shoot me. The police had the right to shoot me. I was robbing a bank. Well, if Israel goes into Palestine and steals people's homes, jobs, cars, land, trees, and they shoot back, they're the criminals. Well, when you tell me the policeman is a criminal for shooting for somebody for robbing a bank in his presence, then I'll believe you about Israel. In the meantime, I think we know the situation. The bank is a victim and the Palestinians are victims. And the Israelis and the police are both doing things they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah. Well, it's just the humanitarian situation in Gaza that we are humans. We only humans, regardless of all political issues. We are humans and we should have our right for a normal life.
Hazem, we've talked a lot about the soul and the heart of the people of Palestine, what they have to suffer and how they've had to live, etc. How do we change this?
Yeah.
How do we bring about change on the Gaza?
Well, innocently and honestly, I don't see any change. Really, I don't see any change that could come, at least in the near future. But a change that are at least from ordinary people to implement projects in Gaza, especially in my point of view, to concentrate. It is my advice for anyone who would like to implement a project helping the people of Gaza, is to do something that is long term and not short term, because lots of aid organizations provide, for example, food parcels, but this family that is given this food parcel will eat this food, and the next day they will be back hungry. So it will be really beneficial to help people with sustainable sources of life, for helping entrepreneurs, helping self-owned businesses, helping people to get money themselves. That's it. Also, the education, giving them the means of getting education. That is the biggest thing that could be done to especially to children. It is the longest term investment in their minds. Other thing is the for the power, for the solar power, that will compensate the huge loss of normal power, the AC. The solar power is becoming more popular, and it will be so much beneficial. It will make a change. For the people of Gaza, if we give them this power means. So this is really the best thing that could be done in the meantime. Bigger than this comes the political aspect, and that is what I think that couldn't be changed, at least in the near future. It will need a very, very, very long time until we really sense and really feel the change, feel the change brought by these. By the political advancements, but again, they are very far of hands and far of reach.
Do you know? I went to Warwick University recently, and just spinning back a couple of years, I shared this story with you, Hazem. But I think it was about 2013. A gentleman contacted me from Zambia. He wanted to come and study here in the UK, and he needed somewhere to stay. And we'd never met him before. We only spoke via email. But yeah, my wife agreed, and we invited him to come and stay at our house. Because furthermore, he couldn't afford to go to university. He didn't have any funds or grants to get him in there, so he had to get some work. He was struggling to get work and to earn the money, and at the time I had a position at a company that I was working for. I was a manager, a night control supervisor, so I took him on and gave him work for his first year so that he can pay his way, get the grades that he needed to earn his bursary, so that he can then continue in university. And just a couple of months ago, I was quite fortunate to go and attend his graduation on his invitation, where he passed his master's degree in civil engineering, and it was a great honor to go and support him in doing that. But here's the thing that I wanted to mention, and I just wanted to clarify this so that to give a greater understanding to what we just discussed with you wanting to leave also, was while I stood in the audience and they did the roll call of all the hundreds of graduates that had graduated, all the students that had graduated on various degrees. The one thing that stood out more than anything else was the lack of English people in an English university graduating in an English university. And the amount of individuals from different countries around the world, Asia, China, the Philippines, Africa, and all over the world, and I mean there were hundreds of them, and if I was to say there was only 2 or 3 out of every 100 that were English, would tell you how many people had come from different countries, oppressed countries, poor countries, countries that were struggling, war-torn countries, and yet, for me, it was an honor for me to see so many people from different nations who had been able to accomplish a dream of furthering their education, that they are now able to do more than they were ever able to do before, even from the countries that they once left. And for me, if I was a relative, a friend, an associate, a colleague of one of these individuals, and I was back home, and I got to hear of this person now completing and fulfilling their dream, I would have just said, thank God for that. So whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, accomplish for yourself, Hazem, I take my hat off to you. I applaud you. I congratulate you in your endeavor and your efforts. And if there's anything that we can do to support that in any way whatsoever, we won't hesitate to do so. But I do feel, and I do understand a standpoint that someone else might have, is that if you are a true compatriot of your nation, of your country, someone who has suffered, I pray that you will use whatever it is, whatever knowledge, whatever experience, whatever financial benefit that you get. I pray that you'll use it to help continue to fight for the freedom of the Palestinian people that you left behind.
Yeah. That is of course my real goal, and the British government. The reason why they restrict beside the refugee crisis is that I am from Gaza, or the British government knows that Gaza is a bad place to live in. Then they assume that all people coming from this place to the UK will, are focused on the point that they will be staying in the UK and stay for anyway in the UK after they finish their study, and that is an additional reason why it is difficult for me to accomplish this step, and to be with my master degree, with getting a master degree, to be in a better position to helping my fellows.
I wasn't going to spend time talking about what you personally wanted for yourself. I really wanted to focus on what it was, what life was like on the Gaza. But if we could do anything to help just one person get out of that hellhole and move on to a better life, then I think that we would have accomplished something. And although I said we might not do this, or we wasn't going to do this, I've changed my mind in the 2 hours that I've had speaking with you and hearing about what you have had to go through, how you have had to live. I want you to take a couple of minutes and tell our audience what they could do to help you accomplish your dream.
Yeah.
The airwaves are yours, Hazem. What could we do to help? How can we help you?
Best of things, if there is an organization that is better, that is also a requirement by the British government. If any student would like to come to study in the UK, should have a sponsor. Who sponsors both the person and financially, but that is difficult for.
Let me say this. Let me say this. If you can get yourself to the UK, I can get you a job. That's not a problem. I can get you a job that will earn you enough money to get you into college. There's Warwick University just down the road from me. I can guarantee you a job if you can get yourself here to the UK. That's what I would do.
Yeah. For I mean, if you mean about Warwick University, I've read the conditions, and they require IELTS 7.5 score. I've done the IELTS recently, but because of the pressure and the exhausting of mind, really, I did get a 6.5, but that's not really bad. But alternatively, I could do the pre-sessional academic course in order to overcome this. Well, if there is any there is no if there is any alternative university I can enroll in, of course, it should have a program of translation, and that is Durham. Durham is having a great have a great program in translation, and it is really my dream beside Swansea.
So,
To study
if somebody wanted to help you, how would they go about doing it? Have you got a GoFundMe? Well, how would anybody help you if they wanted to help you?
Well, first of all, it is the GoFundMe. Beside that, I should have a financial sponsor.
Okay.
I should have.
Well, let me just say this. At the end of this show, your GoFundMe page will be on the Issues Today page, and I do believe I'm going to get our producer to put it on there now. I know she's listening, so we can get our producer to put it on there now. Your GoFundMe page will be put on there, and if anybody wanted to support Hazem in fulfilling and accomplishing his dream, getting him out of Palestine and over here to the UK, then you can find his GoFundMe page on the Issues Today page, Facebook page, and we'll also put it on Twitter. I will share it on Twitter as well. And if anybody wanted to support you on that, then they can go ahead and do so. Once again, Hazem, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I want to thank you for sharing with us what you've shared with us today. It's been a privilege and an honor to hear and speak with you. And we look forward to maybe catching up with you as your journey continues, to find out how you get along and whether or not you manage to find your way to the UK. So please stay in touch with us. It's been a great show. I've really loved doing the show, and I can tell you now that the chat room has been busy, the lines have been busy, the comments have been busy, and you've been an absolutely wonderful guest on this show. I want to leave the last word with our honourable, favourable, irresistible Dr. David Rumeh.
Thank you, Carvin. You know, this show is difficult for me because though I am an American and a scholar and Jewish, I do not relate to any type of oppression of another human being. And when we look at the Israeli experiment, I'm forced to look at my own Jewish belief. And we believe that you can never make an action on matters of justice, whether criminal or civil, without both sides being heard. And when the British government in 1917 issued the Balfour Declaration, saying they would establish Israel in a land then occupied for 1,000 years by the Palestinians, it doesn't seem right. It's contrary to our own British, American, and Jewish values that the other side, that is the Palestinians, were not in that meeting with Chaim Weizmann and Lord Balfour. It just doesn't seem right that a judge or a jury could ever make a decision in one case without hearing the other side. That just seems like common sense. And we can debate and look at all the opinions and the facts, the truths, the untruths, the history, the social conditions, the oppression, the injustice, the justice, the emotions, the feelings, solutions, and reality. But one thing is for certain: Israel will never stay a Jewish state if Palestinians are allowed to return home, are allowed to live there in peace and reproduce and become full citizens. It can remain Israel but it will never be a Jewish state. And that is the crux of why the Israeli Defense Forces and government do all they can to drive the Palestinian people out. And Hazan is one example where they may win. Israel and Palestine may lose a very talented and bright young man. And who can blame them? Another thing is very clear. As long as the Western European countries and America continue to defend the injustice and oppression, it won't change. I guess Hazan has enlightened me today. Maybe as the Jews left after Rome destroyed Jerusalem in 70 AD, and maybe like the Jews left Europe after World War II, maybe it's time for all the Palestinian people to create a diaspora. Just do like Hazan. Get up and all 5 billion leave. Go to Australia. Go to Canada. Go to Europe. Come to America. Go to Brazil and Argentina. Create a massive, massive diaspora of Palestinians and leave that desert to Israel. Let them use up all the water. Let all the Jews of the world who want to go there.